Hello, everybody. Hallelujah. Listen, we are live. This is Kingdom Millennials Network. And today I have in the studio with four powerful different millennials, and I will be introducing them momentarily. But listen, we have a lot of discussions today, the things about millennials. This is called Kingdom Millennials Network, and tonight is Kingdom Millennials Night. My name is Dr. Sean, your beloved host, the founder of and the CEO of Impact Network. Today, we have four millennials right here in the studio. I'm going to begin from my right to introduce them. And once I introduce them, they can say hello by themselves. On my right is Minister J. James. Go ahead and say hello. And then on my far right is Minister Brishon Denton. And then on my left is Minister Shawanda Kimball. And then on my far left is Prophet Perry Henderson.
How y'all doing?
Good. Now, tonight we're going to have some great discussions. This is our first Kingdom Millennials Network broadcast. And please, if you are watching, whatever you're watching, make sure that you share the broadcast immediately on your wall. Right now, we are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. We're live on Twitter X. We're live on Twitch TV. We're live on all the Facebook channels. So we are broadcasting today, not 22, but exactly 20 channels broadcasting real time. We're live on my page. We're live on my wife page. We're live on church page. We're live on ministry page. We're live on group page. In fact, we are live everywhere. So you are watching us real time. What you see now is what those who are on YouTube is seeing. And what those who are seeing on YouTube is seeing is those who are on Twitter and Twitch TV, they are seeing. So we're everywhere. Please go ahead and comment. Kingdom Millennials Night is what tonight is all about. But this panel is about Kingdom Millennials Network. Very soon you will see our group page so that you can also join the group page. Everyone, I am the only one that is not a millennial because I am the host. They are using my TV network. I'm also the presenter of this interview tonight. So we're going to start tonight. One of the questions most people generally ask is, where are the millennials in the kingdom? How come we don't see them in the kingdom? And after several critical analysis, some data that have been collected, is most of them are struggling with different stuff. And one of them that stand out is dating, relationship, and marriage. And that will be the subject of discussions tonight. Dating, relationship, and marriage. Why? Because they are trying to do what they are taught to do, but it is somehow not working according to what they were told. They're seeing something else, and for that reason, they are not generally active in the kingdom because they're trying to figure life active. Not every one of them, some of them are very active, but they are missing in action. And listen, if we can hear from them tonight. So let's begin by dating, relationship, and marriage. I want to ask questions to see the one that are single and the one that are not single. So, Minister Shawanda Kimball, are you married or single?
I'm married.
You're married. Okay. Prophet Perry Henderson.
I'm married.
And then Minister J. James.
I'm single.
And then Minister Brishon Denton.
I'm single.
Okay. So we have two millennials that are married, and they have a lot to share with us how they get to where they are because they didn't get there easy. And then we have other two millennials that are single, and they're going to be sharing something. So the first question here is, generally, millennials are missing in the kingdom because they're going through stuff. And one of those things that they're going through stuff is about dating, relationship, and marriage. So, the first question here is, why is it like that? Any one of you can go. Why is it that there is a struggle in the area of dating, relationship, and marriage? Any one of you can go first. Shall we go, you that are married? So let's see. How long have you been married?
I've been married 7 years.
7 years. So prior to 7 years ago, you were not married. You've been married for 7 years. So tell us, what are the struggles in the area of relationship, dating, and marriage?
There are so many struggles. I don't know where to start.
You can start somewhere, yes.
So I would say a lot of it start with the dating phase.
Okay.
And your upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
the environment in which you're raised,
Okay.
and what you're exposed to.
Okay.
Back in the day, people actually took the time to court.
Yes. People take time to court.
Actually court. But now, people are kind of led by their flesh.
Okay.
So when they're led by their flesh, it causes them to not seek God to ensure that they are attaching or aligning themselves with the right person.
Okay. So upbringing have a lot to do with it. So what are other things?
Okay, so upbringing, environment,
Mm-hmm.
not seeking God for the right person,
Mm-hmm.
and distractions.
Distractions. And when you say distraction, so besides seeking God and upbringing, there could be distractions that also could cause the struggle. And this distraction could come from the peer group, the peer friends, what your friends are already getting married and they're already getting established and you feel behind, which would be, would you say this distraction could come from either friends and family or just the network, the social network in it?
When I say distractions, I mean, if you look at what's on TV,
Hold the microphone. Yes.
what you're exposing yourself to.
What you're exposing yourself to, okay?
So if you're not protecting your eye gaze, you're watching things on TV that TV can become a distraction in terms of it doesn't show how sacred marriage is.
Okay.
It kind of focuses on things like if a guy has a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
then the younger women, they want someone who has a lot of money rather than someone who actually loves and has a relationship with God.
Good. All right. Let's come to the singles, and we're coming to the second married millennials. Let's come to the single here. So I'm coming on your side. Please tell us, what really is going on. What are there different struggles in the area of relationship, courtship, and also marriage? There is. Go ahead. Any one of you can go. Jay?
I'll start off. So I would say dating nowadays, most people, there's so many options in
Yes.
dating. So you can traditionally meet someone out.
Mhm.
Now people are doing dating apps. It could be a Christian dating app. It can be just a regular dating app. Or you meet someone through a friend.
Mhm.
That could possibly happen. But I think more so with social media has made more people more accessible
Mhm.
than what maybe our parents are used to, our grandparents. Typically you marry someone that's like, that was up the street or went to your church or a friend of a family.
Mhm.
Now we're able to date people that live in a different state or a different country. So with that being said, now since you have more options, I think people are more so like, you know what, I didn't like that one flaw about you, so I'm going to move on to the next.
Wow.
Because, the whole, you hear there's more fish in the sea. But just because there's more fish in the sea, it doesn't necessarily mean like that's just going to be, that person for you. I feel like no one's perfect. Social media makes unrealistic expectations sometimes
Yes.
on relationships and what that should look like in terms of it. But I think you have to realize that social media is just literally 3-second clip
Yes.
of 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So just to kind of tie that all back in, it's just like now we're dating. No one really knows, like, yeah, we want to get married. That sounds good. But what does that really look like? Or how do we get there? I know I grew up, I heard the word courting. But I feel like nowadays if I ask someone, like, they would be like, what's courting? Like, we're dating.
So so then so the world don't have they don't have explanation of what they should do. So it's like there's so many options, and when you say are you dating or courting, and they kind of like don't know what you're talking about. What's different between dating and
No,
courting?
it's literally like, okay, I like you, you like me, we're gonna date. Oh, you get on my nerves. I'm gonna drop you. I'm gonna find someone else new.
There you go.
And it's never like, you know what, let's try to work through this, and I don't know if you've ever heard this. It's like the 80-20 rule.
Mhm.
So a person is going to be 80% of what you want because no one's perfect.
Mhm.
But typically, that little 20% that you don't like or that person doesn't have, you go out to look for and forget that the person that you found had this 80.
Wow.
And so you're always searching for that 20, and therefore you can never get the person you wanted when initially you had the 80.
And while all of this is going on, time is also going.
Exactly. And you're getting older.
Now you're getting
Yeah.
older,
Yes.
and time is going because of
Yes.
this going on. So by the time you finally get to that place for the person that you can actually date up to a year, which after a year may not even work, by that time you've already lost 5 to 7 years already.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Okay, Minister Bishon. So, what really is going on in this dating? What is it that they just so much? Because the thing there is, now, let me put it this way. I'm a relationship counselor and I hear a lot, relationship and marriage counselor. And when I hear the millennials, I'm saying, man, somebody need to really guide them somehow how to do it. Because it looks like, Jade said, so much options. Dating app everywhere. Social network everywhere. So everybody's just presenting. So what is going on now that is making millennials, like most millennials within the period of 3 years, they would have dated 4 to 6 people. And none of the date lasted a year. And that's scary. For people like us that are the X generation, 4 to 6 people under 3 years, people would think you're crazy. But that's the millennials. And they're not intentionally doing it. They feel somehow trapped that they don't know which way to go. So go ahead, give us your opinion.
So my opinion on that is kind of a little bit of what most people have said. Distractions and even peer pressure.
Mhm.
You think that because you see somebody in a good relationship,
Mhm.
oh, I want to be like that. I want to find that person that's just like this. You don't actually really know what you want or what God actually has for you.
Mhm.
And you're not seeking it from him. So you're just out here trying it out because everybody else is saying, oh, that person looks nice.
Yeah.
Y'all would be cute together. It's more of a let me fit in so that I can find out just in case, and maybe it'll work out. But we're not actually truly saying, let me write it down, exactly what I'm looking for, exactly what I
Come
want,
on.
who I want to be in the relationship and where I want to get to.
Mhm.
So I think nobody's really showing us that because they didn't do it either.
Mhm.
They got lucky sometimes, or they found it and they fell in love and it all worked out. But I don't think we've been, as a millennial, we haven't been taught how to go out and discern who we need to be with
Yeah.
or see even a godly dating relationship, because we always hear horror stories. So
Mhm.
we're like, maybe I should just, chill out and back out from it and
Right,
just
yeah.
watch from
Right.
afar and see what happens, or just not date at all,
Mhm.
which that's not the goal. The goal
Yeah.
is to, have a kingdom marriage. So I think these distractions just make it to where we don't understand exactly what we're looking for. And until we do, we won't be able to seek that person out.
So you're saying that generally, there's some guidance needed, there's some teaching needed, because it's like they're trying to figure it out. And because, even as a relationship counselor, sometimes I don't get the case when there is no issue. I get the case when they're trying to kill each other. Literally, they're ready to push things out. But when I was studying clinical psychology and also studying family counseling and therapy with relationship, it is suggested that within the first 6 months, if there's a little tiny thing that you guys are not able to figure out, you seek counsel. But how is it that the millennials, they don't seek counsel, they believe they have the answer, but then they're going to end up breaking up anyway?
We don't even seek our own therapy. So how could we seek counsel with somebody else?
That's right.
We're not taught that. This is something that somebody tells us to do, but we're not receiving the benefits of it because we haven't seen them do it.
Mhm.
So it's literally like, oh, I'm gonna tell you what to do, but I've never done it. But you should do it because it's good for you.
In other words, they don't have a real role models to look, they can't copy.
That's
because the
correct.
people they look up to, they're not doing anything to encourage them. Say something before I go to Perry. Go
It's
ahead.
like the saying, it's like you do as I say and not as I do.
That's right.
But you have to understand, in theory, yeah, that sounds good, but I need to see that you're doing it.
Exactly.
And how do I
There
know
must
that
be
that's
a
gonna
model
work
that should be
for me?
followed.
Yes.
All right, Prophet Perry, we're coming to you. Let us, you are married.
Correct.
Good. So, and you didn't just get there overnight.
No, not at all.
So, tell us where the problems is. Thank God you're married. They're
Amen.
single.
Thank
They
you.
all want to get to
Amen.
where you are.
Thank you, Lord.
Minister Shawanda, amen,
Amen.
was married and been married for 7 years.
Uh-huh.
Glory. And listen, even as a millennial married for 7 years,
That's
that
a good
is
thing.
a miracle.
That is.
Take it from a relationship and marriage counselor. Now,
Yeah.
we should be celebrating your 7th anniversary.
Right.
Why? Because most millennials, if they make it 3, Jesus has come down in the likeness of men. I'm telling you.
That is correct.
Yeah. All right, Perry, go ahead.
I would say personal gains.
Okay.
A lot of people, they're in it for what they can get out of it with the least amount of effort.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people are not willing to put in any kind of sweat equity,
Mhm.
meaning go through it, getting knocked across the head,
Mhm.
fall short or come up short. A lot of people are, hey, what can I get out of this person? Because they see social media,
Mhm.
they see people around them, their friends and things of that
Mhm.
nature, and they want what they want.
The one what the one.
That's correct. They want what they want or what they can get out of a person that they don't personally have or believe that they can get themselves. So they succumb to trying to get it out of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big problem in today's relationships. It's all about what can you do for me? So we hop from relationship to relationship because we're trying to figure out, hey, I need this. I need a car.
Mhm.
My credit's not the best. So we go out and look for these women and these men that are successful, even if it comes by way of, illegal means.
Illegal means, yes.
They that's what they're on now. For myself, I can only speak for me, but there once was a point in time in my life where there was a struggle and things of that nature, and I could have took on that demeanor,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm a person who I'd rather suffer by myself
Mm-hmm.
and try to figure it out.
Mhm.
I've always been that person. But one thing I can say is God has always put somebody in my life to help guide me or push me and give me that little jolt of motivation
Mhm.
to say, hey, you can still accomplish this. And so I'm thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
So, in general, though, Jade and Brishon say that, there's no model to look after. So, if there's no model to look after, so what would millennial then want in a relationship? What would be their goal if there's no model for them to actually, follow? So, because I'm thinking, so what's your desire? Okay, get married and have children. Well, that's two standards. So, what really is the goal? Do you want to be in a happy relationship, to be in a happy marriage? So, because if they don't have a model, so what would be their vision, their ambition, what they want to be? Because at the end of the day, that's still missing. So, people date and they court for long. So why is it that sometimes people are in a relationship for 3-4 years and they're not getting married and they're not getting their separate ways either? That would be the next question. You that is married, you want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah, long courtship that is 3-4 years and there's nobody buying no ring, kneeling down.
I think first of all, love is supposed to be unconditional.
Very.
And I think a lot of times people go into relationships, of course we all want to be in love and love someone,
Mhm.
but they have contingencies.
Mhm.
And it's like, how can you love someone unconditional and, have contingencies on your love?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, typically that's why it doesn't last. And I think also transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Communication is key.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, when talking with someone, I know me being single, they always talk about that question of asking a guy, like, what are we? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like that's a big stigma.
Yeah,
But,
confirmation.
at this age, I'm in my 30s, so
Yes.
I'm like, what's going on?
Exactly.
Like we have to know. So I think at that point, you have to be transparent about your wants, your needs. What does our timeline look like? Do you have a vision for us?
Yeah.
So I think when dating, that's important, and when you and that person are on the same level, and I mean, like the same timeline or expectations of what this relationship is looking like and where we're going, I think the ring will come.
Yes.
But I think if you're just dating just to date and there's no end goal in mind, and
Yes.
our end goals are not matching, you're never gonna get there.
That's correct.
And if our love is not unconditional, meaning
Yes.
good, it's gonna be good times, it's gonna be bad times, it's gonna be sad, but you have to understand that everyone's happiness is determined. Your happiness may not be what happiness looks
Come on.
like
Yes.
for me.
Mhm.
So when you're dating someone, you need to date someone that I know that what works for us. This is what works for us. It's not what we see on social media
That's
or
right.
the other couple in church or someone else on my job or another family member. So I think when you find that happiness with the person you're with, our love is unconditional. Good, bad, sad, $2 in our account or $2 million in
Come
our
on.
account.
Come on.
The love is still going to be
The
there.
love is still going to be
Yeah.
there. Amen. Amen.
Sorry.
Amen. All right, Brishon.
was
You know,
just gonna say-
the cause of people staying in a relationship or courtship for 2, 3 years, 4 years, and they're not getting married and they're not going their separate ways either.
Convenience and the fact that they know that they have that person that has not actually
That's tough.
made a standard or an expectation to do something within a certain timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all probably done it. We've done it at jobs. We've done it with friendships.
Yes.
We don't even
Come on.
realize it until we realize we've changed and we're like, wait a minute, I don't like this. I have a different goal. We haven't set it, the standard for ourselves, so we can't set it for somebody else. So, I mean, it literally comes back to the person and how, oh, I'm dating, like you said, you're dating to just date and like, oh, I just want to go have a good time. Or am I dating with intention to find a person for a family, a person for being my husband, a person that's going to ride with me throughout everything
Yes.
and be able to prolong it if something should happen.
Right.
It's convenience.
Wow. So, you know, you guys that are married, I'm coming to you because I see people who are in courtship or the courtship and relationship because it's already past dating. And they're there for long. They're not going their separate ways. They're not also not getting married either. And as a relationship and marriage counselor, sometimes that could be very, very bad because they might be getting on their 40th year and that's when they're breaking up. And I'm thinking that's a whole 4 years, you know, that is counted wasted. So I'm not a fan of a relationship or courtship that is going to take forever. I have a standard, you know, dating, which we're going to discuss at the end because we have to be able to define the difference between dating and courtship.
That's correct.
Because most people, anyway, let me leave that for now. So, what are the cause of this time going? Now, if they end up getting married, I'll be happy. But most of the time, 3 years, 4 years, and that's when they're breaking up. And I'm thinking, hold on, where have you been the last 4 years? And that kind of like is heavy on me when I'm trying to save 4 years of relationship that is breaking apart. You know, and they just realize that they have to go their separate ways after 4 years. So what are the cause of those things? You guys that are married, you can go first.
I believe that a lot of it comes from
Prophetess, can you give us more volume?
when they're
D,
dating.
E, F, and B. Go ahead.
When they're dating, they're not like, sorry,
Brashad.
Brashad said, they're not dating with an end goal in mind. They're dating because this person is an outlet, or they're filling a void,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
A lot of, I'll speak from personal experience.
Yes.
When I was younger, I went through a lot of trauma. I had an abusive father, and it seems that all the guys that I dated were guys that made me feel like there was a sense of protection. And once I felt like I was healed, I had no use for that person anymore. So I started to ask, why am I even with you? There's nothing else that you do for me. And so it causes you to go from person to person because you're filling voids as you go. And then even if it's 3 or 4 years later, so then you end up just breaking up.
Wow.
You wasted, and they don't really see it as 4 years wasted. They kind of got what they were
Got what
needing
they,
from that person.
at least at that time. Okay, Prophet Perry, go ahead.
Sometimes
No,
it's
what?
just, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sometimes it's just the thought of it.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of us, we make inner vows. Hey, when I grow up, I want to get married. I want to have X, Y, Z, 3 kids, a house on top of the hill. This prolific job, and so we get into these relationships again, like I said, for personal gain, and we like the thought of it. It looks like we've accomplished something, like we accomplished those dreams and those goals, versus the true meaning of it. And so we get in it and it gets rough, and we're like, I got what I wanted, but this ain't what I signed up for. Because you signed up for part-time and realize it's a full-time job.
Yes.
So you have to come in, to the conception of, hey, this is what it is. This is for real.
But here's another thing, though. While we're on this subject, some people have actually proceeded from courtship relationship there is and moved in together.
Uh-huh.
And they're okay with it. But then again, several years later, they end up going their separate ways, hurt, broken. And so why is it okay for them to even proceed in moving in together for past 1 year if they're not planning on getting married?
The thrill of being able to have somebody right there, coming home to, hey, a cooked meal, or coming home to, sexual pleasures in whatever capacity, that it is.
I would have been, maybe my generation. Now, my generation is different because I would have, a woman wouldn't have been okay to be playing a wife without being a wife.
That's true.
But it looks like the millennials are okay. Now, my generation, oh, trust me, moving together, the person that will be against it first will be the woman.
Yeah.
Because I do not want to be a wife without being a wife.
Yeah, that's right.
But it looks like the millennials, so why is it okay even for females? Please answer this, because the world needs to, Because, and it also helped me, to understand how to help, because I get some crazy cases in my office.
You want
Go ahead.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I think, and you said the term, we play house to see how would they look as a husband, how would they look as a wife. Are they clean? Are they tidy? Because when you get married, it's out the door. I can't take what you do at home away, because this is how you are. What if I really don't like that? That's a whole nother side that I think we're so like, oh, well, if you're about that life, let me see. And we want to see, actually. So you move in, and you're like, okay, maybe we won't do, the negative things, the bad things that you're not supposed to do, but you're seeing that person for what they are, how they live. And that shows you a little bit deeper into that person without them actually telling you. Because they don't get very vulnerable until you actually see how they live it.
Come on.
Okay, go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say, this is a term I've always heard. Well, my mom used to say it, my grandma. But why let them milk the cow before buying it? You ever heard that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So with that terminology, that's always stuck in my head. But I think nowadays people do it just to be like, oh, let's save money. Let's move in together. Like, why would we have 2 separate places? We're already at each other's house, like, every single night. So why we have 2 places? That's, like, one thing that people say. Secondly, it's like, this is just convenient. Like, I come home to you. We're already acting as if we're in a relationship. I think that's why it's key. What does the timeline look like in order to get married? I don't think visually, what does that look like? I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know. I don't know what that looks like. Once you meet a person, what are our next steps? What is A, B, C, D, and then here's the ring. But I think also, if I don't know that, what are my expectations are gonna be for a man who's probably, he's getting his life together or getting closer to God. Does he even know? And he's the one that has to propose to me. So now we're in a waiting game.
Right.
Do you know?
Right.
I know what I want, but how do we get there? So I think visually we need to know, what does that look like for us? So that way I can hold you accountable as a man to be like, okay, sir, we're here. We're at A. Now how do we get to B? But if I don't know, I can't hold my partner accountable. So I think also as women, we just have to, put our foot down like, no, sir,
Okay.
we're not doing
Apostle,
this.
if you don't mind.
All right,
Thank you.
Minister Shawanda, you've been married for 4 years. Curious question though, how long did you court, not date, before you get married?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay, so women that, millennials that stay in dating and even moved in together for 2-3 years, even 4 years before they decide to get married, and sometimes they don't. And if they ended up not getting married, most of the time there will be 2 or 3 children that was gotten out of that. Even though that was not the original plan. The original plan, like Prishan said, was, just let us see what kind of a person this is, because I'm coming to bring the final discussion about the difference between dating and courting. Until the millennials understand that difference, the problem will continue. So, what are the causes of being okay to moving together for 2-3 years, or being in a relationship 2-3 years, sometimes 4 years? I've seen 7. One of the kids that landed in my office was 7 years, and that's when they're trying to break up. And I'm thinking, well, where have you guys been the last 7 years? I almost asked that question, but as a counselor, I couldn't. I have to hear them out. But I was thinking it, and I was like, 7 whole years, and that's when you want to break up.
Yeah, you feel
Why don't you do that in the first 6 months? But so what are the causes of these drag? Because it's not just that the time is long, but they're also losing time themselves. So what are the causes of these things?
I really believe a lot of it has to do with them not knowing who they are. So because they don't know who they are, they don't really know what they want. So if they do not have a clear vision of what they want or where they're going, as they are growing or they are on the road to becoming, they may realize, okay, this is not the person that I need to be walking with, or this is not the person that I can see myself sharing or doing life with. And then a lot of times they just break it off before they get to that and sometimes it's a blessing that you break it off before you marry the wrong person.
Most of the time, yeah.
But and as we've been saying, a lot of it has to do with not having that guidance. And I don't want to say the wrong thing, but in a lot of churches, you see a lot of fornicating. You see a lot of ministers who are in adulterous situations, and the young people are watching. And a lot of times your life is really the loudest ministry. Like, regardless of what you're saying in the pulpit, they're watching your life. They hear what people are whispering, they're watching what you're doing. And so it's just important for, especially because I have teenagers, and I always say, okay, I know I'm going to be the biggest role model in your life versus what you're seeing at school. So a lot of it is their upbringing, as we've already said. There's some parents that say things like, well, you need to move in with them first, make sure that they're going to pay the bills.
Parents are suggesting this.
Parents are suggesting this.
Wow.
Parents are suggesting this because you have some women who will say, okay, well, if I'm going to sleep with you, you need to pay my bills. And that's how they make sure that man is paying their bills, by moving them in with them.
Okay. Well, here is the thing though, because we have to get to the place of providing a solution per se for the millennials, because by the time a parent is suggesting that your daughter moves in with a man to see whether he can pay the bills, if the man is a real man, he should have already been able to pay the bill without moving in together. It just depends on who you're dealing with. And a real man will do what a real man will do. Now, I can speak from my own, I was in Europe and Australia dating my wife. We're in courtship. I was flying in every other month and sometimes every month. And the one thing she can tell you is that she visited MoneyGram and the Western Union almost every week.
Come on.
Because, and the thing there is why am I doing that? Because that's the woman that I'm going to marry. I'm investing into her. I need her to feel, to feel that this money comes from my future husband.
That's
And that was even before we got engaged.
Mhm.
In fact, she visited Western Union on Monday Gram that anytime she saw Nelson, said, Miss Beverly, how much are we doing today? but you know, that's my generation. But a real man that is raised right have to be able to demonstrate to who you are in relationship with, that you be able to be, you know,
Prior to.
yeah,
Prior
that you be able to be a real man, not just a person that is going to be taken care of. Now, the next thing now is courtship and dating. Is two words that the millennials think they are the same.
Mhm.
So, why is that? Because they're not the same.
Not at all.
Courtship, dating and courtship, one always comes first before the other. But to the millennials, they're the same. And because they're the same, by the time they think they're dating, they're actually in a relationship and they still think they're dating. You know, and they're dating, but they think they're in a relationship while they're currently dating. So they don't see the difference between the two. So I'm going to ask you guys that are millennials, why is it difficult for them to see the difference? Go ahead.
Okay, Dr. Sean.
Yes.
Really,
It's a tough question.
no, it really is a tough question.
Yeah.
But really quick,
Mhm.
I know you make the statement about, you were financial, being supportive.
Mhm.
I would like to say in our generation, there's a new thing, and we had this top little combo inside, 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not going to help.
Let's talk about
That is
that.
the new
Yes.
thing.
Okay.
So now in relationships, everyone's like, okay, well, it's 50-50. So the whole thing is everyone's saying they want a traditional relationship, but see, what's traditional to you is not
Yeah,
my tradition
yeah.
anymore.
We're in a new season.
So it's like, okay, grandma taught me this is
Uh-huh.
how I was supposed to be as a woman. I'm supposed to make sure my husband has food on the table. You know, when he comes home, I'm supposed to make sure the house is getting clean. But to be honest, grandma really didn't have to work and she didn't have to pay any
right.
bills.
That's right.
Grandpa paid
Yeah,
all the
come on.
bills.
Talk
He
about
put
it.
gas in the car.
Come
He
on.
mowed the yard. He did everything. Grandma didn't have to do nothing but go get her nails done, go to church on Sunday, go to Penny's, get a little outfit. But now it's different.
It takes two in the household now.
Women, we're working a full-time job. And then, we're having these beautiful children by you that have to be fed. Someone needs to help them with homework. They want to be in extracurricular activities. Someone needs to take them and pay for those things.
Come on.
Then you want me to also make sure you have a meal on the table. And then, Lord forbid that I have to go half with you on the bills. I'm sorry, but I
Now,
just
they
can't.
have, here is the thing.
We're in a new
Okay,
time.
The math is just not math.
no, the half is not working. And if the millennials is going to be pushing 50-50, then it means we are destroying the next generation. You understand what I mean? Because at the end of the day, what is love? Love isn't about being together with an opponent or competing with an opponent. No. If you guys want to have a relationship, it isn't about okay, well, where's your half of the rent? And then at the end of the day, I'm thinking, what's the point of getting married if everything is going to be half? Somebody have to be the male and somebody have to be the female, regardless. But the man also must understand that she work, so she's not at home. So a real man should be able to also help out in domestic stuff. Real men,
Yes, that's
both
correct. I
parents
believe in that,
work.
yes.
You have to help out in a domestic stuff.
In both
If
ways.
a man is still playing traditional, then you might as well just go make all the money and have the woman sit at home.
That's
Even
true.
a woman sitting at home is a work on his own.
That's true.
That's so most women, seem to have a second job at home. Because that's a second job, even if it is two children. In this generation, man, they are hyper.
50-50 on these chores.
Yes.
Hello?
So somebody have
Come
to
on.
take care of them. So the idea of 50-50 in financial responsibility, even when it came from Europe and it has spread, but it's not working, because at the end of the day, even the woman sometimes that want the 50-50, sometimes you start missing the idea of being treated as a woman. It never worked. And for the millennials to actually, here is the thing though, because
yeah, we gotta go deep in that one.
yeah, we gotta go
Because
deep
you have
because
some
now,
women that
okay,
have
so
careers and money.
okay, so it's like you take a woman out on a date,
Uh-huh.
and you expect her to pay her portion of the bill.
No, I don't think
We got
it's like, I
boundaries
don't think
now.
it's
We
like
got
the, I don't
boundaries.
think it's the dates. I think men understand, like,
Uh-huh.
if we're going out on a date, sir, you're paying, okay? But I think,
I've gotten some places where the man was expecting the woman to pay,
yeah,
Yeah,
which
that's-
is crazy.
I don't know,
wrong
what was
expectations.
going on with that, but
Yeah.
today's society, sir, I'm gonna need you to pull out that wallet.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of across
I'm
the
gonna take that
board.
blessing.
Okay,
Paying for
so,
my meal.
but men nowadays, they're wanting, like, hey, like, when are you gonna take me out on a date? Which is fine, but we're, I mean, I don't mind. If I'm in a relationship with a guy and you've taken me out on 50 dates and I haven't
One
had
or
to
two not
touch
gonna
my
hurt you.
purse at all, I
Come
don't
on.
mind being like, you know what? Let's go to the movies and I'll pay for it. Or let's, go out to dinner and I don't mind paying for it. But that's not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. It's going to be a while. And I'm just
Yeah.
doing it because I would like to. It's not
because you
mandatory.
expected to.
Exactly. No, I'm doing that just because, you know what? I want to just show my appreciation and say thank you. But I think it's more so when it comes to relationship and marriage, that's more so where you're starting to see the 50-50, not so much in like the dating stuff.
Yeah, because you got millennials.
So,
out here.
That's the problem though, we can't get to the
Yeah.
marriage with
Yeah.
the 50-50 now, and when you said,
As long as 50-50 is
Yeah.
concerned, you will never make it to the altar because it'll crush the relationship so much.
Some people
Because,
get there.
okay, so even when both of you make equal,
Uh-huh.
there are things that women need
yep,
Which is true.
that makes what men need like nothing.
Yeah.
say again.
So even making the same will never work.
Yeah.
Because you guys have to get your nail done, get your hair done, like just different stuff. Just the hair and the fingernails and every other thing that women need. Men just need clothes and
Yeah, sir.
get their hair cut and that's it.
Yeah. Apostle too.
Get some colognes.
Yeah.
that
Apostle
just
too.
it.
Yeah.
So even a woman making more
Mhm.
it's still not okay to go 50-50. Now, when you're making more, you understand that you have the bigger portion, but to go 50-50 is to actually not make it to the altar because it will destroy the relationship that you're thinking. So, well, if I'm gonna just be 50-50, why am I marrying you if we're gonna divide everything equal? So when do I get to be treated as a female? Have you ever heard of, being spoiled is a word.
Yes.
It's not just about provision. It's just to feel that you are the female in the relationship. If you don't get to feel that, then both of you are two captain in the ship.
Yeah. Apostle.
Go ahead.
If I may speak for some of the millennials now, as far as men, a lot of them have taken on their mindset and persona because of exactly what you just said, and you all's generation, where the men were the providers and the women stayed at home and they did their wifely duties and so now. But now, like I said, the women now, and this time, some of them are making more money, than the men because of professions or careers or whatever the case may be. So, unless that man has a business or this and that, he can't work a regular 9-to-5 job, and she has a career, and it's hard to find those type of jobs, that can even compete with the salaries and the commissions of different.
But here is the thing, though. There are understand now. Remember, the two parties are not opponents.
Which is true.
You understand what?
Which is true.
There are some cases where the woman make 150, and the husband or the male, since they're dating, can be making 70. That's half. There is understanding.
Which is true.
Even as a man, even making less. Like one of the things I teach in a marriage seminar is I tell men that women, they need to say, my husband is
Which is
doing
true,
my
yes.
nail.
I agree
It doesn't
with you
mean they
on that.
cannot afford it.
Right.
But they feel appreciated that my husband gave me $70 or $100 to get my nail done, or gave me his card.
That's correct.
So I tell men, when they say, I need to get my nail done, don't look at it as this. Are you saying you could not afford it? No, 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 no. It's a privilege that they're wanting you to pay for it.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So a woman can make more. There's nothing wrong about it. As long as the love and understanding is there, it works. The one who make more, you know the responsibilities is going to be more on you. As long as you also don't use it against the man. Do you understand what I mean?
And that's the point I was
There is
getting to.
understanding.
Like,
Without understanding, I've seen those where the control
yes.
come from the one that make the big money, because the woman said, well, I'm the one that pay the bill here. Unfortunately, yeah, you already have the career, so this person cannot meet you immediately there. So everything is all about understanding.
So what advice would you give to the millennial men who have taken on the mindset of, if I give everything and I do everything, if she leaves me, I have nothing and she has everything?
Well, there is the idea of people, like in this America, something that was founded years ago, which I am not very much okay with, is called prenup. You know, prenup was supposed to protect both parts. But if you have to go prenup, then you shouldn't be getting married.
Which is true.
You understand what I mean? Because you're planning the failure of your marriage at the beginning of your marriage.
Yeah.
The answer will be seek counsel while you are currently in a relationship.
Yes.
Because there are
That right
some
one. Got it.
differences that the real counselor will help you. You know, myself, we have some professional counselors. I don't mean the traditional one. We have the professional counselors out there that can give you understanding in finances, understanding in communication, understanding everything. Because sometimes there's also a place where the man makes more money
Yes, that's correct.
and use it to lord over the
Yeah,
woman.
to control.
Yeah.
You know, and that has become like possessive, narcissistic. Yeah, I've dealt with all of that. But a woman in the picture should be able to say, baby, we need to seek professional counsel. And I tell people, seeking counsel is not actually only needed when you have problems.
Yeah, it's before.
Because in marriage, I offer what we call marriage tune-up. You know, it doesn't mean that the marriage have a problem, but the marriage can be better. In a relationship, I also offer relationship tune-up counseling. It means you're not fighting each other, you're not having any problem, but you kind of wanted to boost to see what you can do better. So when people seek counsel like that, then by the time you get to the marriage, you kind of have learned so much about that marriage requires work. There are no shortcuts.
That's correct.
That's what the millennials think, that is, if there's just a button I push and I'll have all the best marriage. There are no button you
That's
push.
work. It takes
When you
work.
get married,
Definitely.
it's labor. But the problem is, they can get into the marriage having not understood what marriage really is. I've seen relationship 3 years and they get married, then the marriage fell within 2 years.
Take sacrifice.
Because they've been okay while dating and courtship. But then they get married, problem. So somebody asked me, but wasn't it better, okay, not to be getting married, because then if we get married, then that's when we'll have problems. But then I have to ask a question.
That's the main one.
Yes. While you were in a relationship and courtship, did you feel complete? And they usually say no. That's why you think you wanted to get married. The only thing is,
Feel complete.
you think what you have in a relationship is enough for you to get
Sufficient
married.
enough.
No, that's when you seek counsel to see, because y'all are going to be in one place together, wake up in one bed together, and there's not going to be a day where you're going to feel like, I don't want to wake up with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lifestyle
Tough.
stuff. Most people, they feel like, well, what if I needed a break? you know, and some people say, like, well,
Go watch
Apostle,
TV.
in my office, Dr. Sean, well, my wife is suggesting that we take a break from our marriage. I said, what do you mean?
No.
We just need maybe just 3 months or 6 months break.
Wow.
And when I investigate it, there are things they didn't understand. Now, solutions. What do you think solutions are? Because we are reaching almost an hour. I said this for an hour, but we might go for extra 15 minutes, because another subject I was going to discuss, which I think we can still put it, is the difference between courtship and dating. So what do you think the solutions, what solution do you think the millennials need? Because upon all of this thing, beside Minister Shawanda that mentioned seeking God, guess what? Millennials are not seeking that. They're doing all of this, and nobody is trying to talk to God, not for a bit, about it. They think they got it, but they don't got it. Because the problem is still going to come. So there is no counsel that is sought to a professional counselor, and God is not being brought in either. Because you might be dating someone who don't even care about prayer or seeking God. So how's the person going to defend you if you're a woman, if the person don't know God? So what do you think the solutions are? And I can offer mine. What do you think the millennial needs to have a better dating and relationship? Anybody can go for it. What will be, what is it that you think they're missing? Minister Shawanda, you can go.
Wisdom.
Wisdom? Okay, that's short-lived. Give us more.
Wisdom. When most young people, they date because, or they date someone or to choose their partner based a lot of times off of physical appearance. And because they're cute and because they're fun to talk to, now because we've had fun together, now we go together, right?
Yes.
So I think the solution is, like you said, knowing the difference between courtship and dating.
And we're coming to that, yes?
Yes, we're coming to that. But there's a lot of times where commitment is also an issue. Not wanting to lose their freedom or what they feel being in a relationship is. So most people just don't want to be tied down to just one person. Like Jade said, they go according to the 80-20 rule. So not expecting a person to be perfect.
Okay.
So expectations.
So when the expectation is already short-lived, so there's not really anything to really invest into because you have options.
Right.
So if this doesn't work, then I have, I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I mean, if you don't, I already have number 2 on a standby that I'm already talking to.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So the solution is wisdom and also have goal in mind.
Right.
Go on, Prophet Perry.
I was gonna pass it over there. Pivot it.
Okay, let's go over there.
Yeah, come on. Let's hear
Okay,
it.
let's pass it over there to.
I'll finish it.
Go ahead.
Can you repeat the specific question? Like you said, like what's the solution? Is what you're asking?
Yes, the question is, what's the solution? I'm going to offer mine. But because the thing there is like we want the millennials to have a great life and also to be active in the kingdom. Because everything we discussed today, you realize that what is not coming up is actually when do they get to seek God. They generally seek God when the relationship has gone wrong or when the broken up has happened. And now they need healing and they're broken up and that's when they remember God. And all this time, God was not brought in the first place.
That's right.
So I'll say this based on personal experience. I think it's connection. Connection for us feeling like we have somebody in the church possibly, or somebody that feels like, they're a spiritual guidance or spiritual parent that can actually try to relate to us and not put just, oh, God wants you to do this, but like make it plain to us as in our lives, how it is for us. We get told to do so much stuff, but we're not shown the right way in our way as we're living it. And it makes us confused. Oh, you should be married by now because you're this age. But don't rush. But you need to be married so you can have kids. But don't do this. So we're like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't. Should I seek God? Should I seek? What are you telling me? So I think it puts a lot of pressure on us to feel like, okay, I'm supposed to be living this life, living this kingdom life, and showing that I'm a light of God. But I can't see where I'm supposed to be because there's nobody telling, wouldn't say telling me, but showing me the principle of why is this so sacred? Why is this so godly? Why should I look like this or be like this or speak like this? It's because what we've seen, not because of what we're doing.
All right, Jay, go on. Bring it in.
Okay, so I'm going to say it's going to start with self-reflecting.
Self-reflection, okay. Good.
So with that, I feel like sometimes we go into these relationships with baggage and trauma
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these issues come from childhood, come from trial and error of, dating.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're bringing along this baggage of this trauma. We're
These
bringing
carry-on
along
bags.
everything. And then we
Yes.
want to meet this person that's supposed to be perfect
Mhm.
while we the bag lady.
Right.
So, exactly.
Mhm.
But I think first we have to make sure that we are in the right state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And just seek, first of all, you gotta forgive. If it's something in the past, you
Mhm.
just gonna have to forgive.
Mm.
And I think that's a huge thing.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times people feel like if I forgive that person, I'm letting them get away with it.
Yes.
But you have to realize that you have to forgive for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to forgive for yourself. And when you start to just forgive somebody and those baggages are just, they just drop off of you,
Mm-hmm.
now you are able to love somebody.
Come on.
But first, I would say self-reflecting. First, we need to forgive for things that have happened in the past. And what type of relationship we've been through up until this time, learn a lesson.
Learn a lesson.
And
Come on.
remember the sign. Remember, like, oh, I've seen that sign before, and I know I
Yes.
don't like that.
Remember the signs.
And be able to just be like, you know what? That's a red flag, and I need to go. I think sometimes we try to rationalize with ourselves, like,
It ain't yellow.
oh, like, maybe, he did that one time, but
That's the yellow.
no. Sometimes, like, that's actually that person. And I'm speaking from experience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
But I'm just saying, like, I have dated someone and I've seen the red flag, and I was just trying to rationalize, like, oh, maybe they'll change, or
It's
maybe
purple.
I can pray for them, and but sometimes that is just that person, and that
Right.
person has to
They gotta be
change.
themselves.
Thank you for
Yes.
themselves. So that's the
We call
second
that
part.
possibilities.
No, that's true.
Yes.
And I would say also, I always like to write, like, have a list and know what you asking God for
Come on.
in your husband
That's
or
big.
in your wife.
That's big.
Like, know what you're looking
Uh-huh.
for. Because if you don't have a clear idea, you're going to blindly date.
Wow.
Okay.
Powerful.
With no sense of direction.
No
Zero.
sense of direction.
So now you like Ray Charles out here trying to find
These
someone,
keys.
you know.
Let me feel your wrist.
So, exactly. So, and the thing is, if we have like you know what, I want them to be tall, or I want them, you can put down physical different aspects that you want in a person, because I'm gonna be honest, I want to honestly be attracted to the person I'm with.
Oh,
I
primarily,
want you
standard.
to, yeah,
Yeah,
I want you to
for
have
sure.
a great personality, and I want you to see God.
No
I want
tricks.
but I want to actually just be like, you know what, that's my man. You know,
Come
so
on.
so I think that's another thing, is having clear expectations
Uh-huh.
for yourself. And then I feel like once you can forgive, once you can heal, seek counseling
Seek counsel. Yes.
and realize, like, you know what, these are my triggers, or these are my traumas, and being able to effectively communicate that to your
Come on.
partner,
Fail forward.
that these are things that trigger me, or this is what I've been through. Of course, you don't want to divulge in too much of
That's
your
that
information with the
transparency,
wrong
though.
person.
Yes.
That's
Right.
definitely the transparency. But with the right person, they need to know that.
Mhm.
So once we are totally where we need to be, and we have our expectations of what we want, we are healed, we're trauma free. I think at that point, that's when you're ready to find that right person.
Wow.
Come
But
on.
a
That's
lot
right.
of times, these relationships, you'll date and you'll teeter-totter for a little bit, but you're trying to go somewhere with someone, and y'all are pulling so many bags
Yeah.
Come
to get
on.
A
there.
whole lot
So
of you can
many-
get
Spirit
so
personal.
many- I'm trying to tell you, you're gonna get charged every
Come
time.
on.
Mhm.
So I think at that point, when we can be like, let's just go.
American.
And yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, good. Prophet Perry.
Yeah.
And Minister Shawanda, last thing before we just discuss briefly about the differences between dating and courtship. So, what do you have to say concerning, just bring it in about this solution? We're looking for solution.
So,
Because Jade says something, self-reflecting. Most people, they don't have window to do that. Check your baggages, because you're going into, and I tell people that the world is changing too.
fast.
No man want a woman with a lot of baggage, and no woman want a man with a lot of baggage. I've seen some men who are still dealing
You're
with
too emotional?
issues from the past. They were heartbroken. They were
Come on.
rejected. Their woman left them. Deal with all of that.
Yeah, put your chin up.
Because unfortunately, it is not fair for the new person that you're wanting to meet to pay the price of the former person.
That's right. That's right.
Self-replacing both for men and women. You
You're
know,
right, Apostle.
because men have their emotional pain, they might hide it, but it affects the relationship.
Yes, it really does.
Because, like Jade said something about triggers. You know, anytime they see a little thing, like one of my clients, you know, was struggling to keep a marriage because the one before had violent in it. So anytime the man raised his voice, she goes into a psychological little corner. And she won't come out
Yeah.
for weeks.
Yeah.
And it was affecting the marriage because the ex-husband was violent. And she never dealt, she never sought, and she never got healed, she never reflect. So she entered into this marriage, very nice man that is married, but a common voice raised.
Yeah.
That's it, just a little tiny voice raised, she goes into a lock mode. She freezes and locks herself in a psychological closet for 3 weeks. So what Jade said, beautiful to be able to reflect, and then also, you know, seek counsel and talk to God. Fast and pray. Get healed and delivered before you go in. In America, we have what we call rebound. Most people, you come out of a relationship,
Yeah.
you jump into another one. That's
Yeah.
not safe.
No,
Give yourself
People
time.
Got doubles.
And then learn something,
Assist and rebounds.
what you missed and what you could have seen and what you didn't see. Go ahead.
So,
What can be done to bring solutions so that millennials can really thrive in dating and relationship, including marriage?
it's fail forward. It's something I learned 4 or 5 years ago. Failing forward, meaning don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Hurt's gonna come. We already know that in the Bible it tells us, hey, that we're gonna suffer.
Offense
a
will
little
come,
bit.
yeah.
We're gonna suffer. It's not everything is not gonna be peaches and cream. Everything is not gonna be apple pie and ice cream. You know, fail forward. Be able to put yourself out there. That's where dating comes from. Dating is, hey, me taking the time really quick, hey, to see if we have anything even in common. And if we do have something in common and it's something that I can even, then let me say this too, because I had to learn this one of the biggest ones. That we're not always gonna have things in common, but I need to know if the things that irritate me are manageable for me. If I can manage it, if I can say, you know, it's not that big, you know, work past it, then we move into that courtship where now I can be transparent with you and let you know and let down my guards and be okay if it doesn't work out, or, you know, letting down my guards and telling you the innermost parts of me. And, you know, I'm okay now if I tell you the inner parts of me, and guess what? You try to use it against me. Thank you for showing me who you are. Thank you. So,
Good. Okay, Minister Shawanda, one more thing before we finalize this, because we are over an hour. Still looking for solution. Earlier you said wisdom. Wisdom is required. You know, to not lose time for something that you wouldn't have to lose time. As much as relationship requires work, most people, it's not actually that they're laboring for it, it's that they lack information, they lack guidance. They went in blindly, and by the time their eyes are getting open, that's when they want to get out of relationship. So besides wisdom, what else are you recommending for the millennials? Because you're millennials and you've been married for 7 years. So these millennials you lasted
Congratulations.
past 3 years.
I would say working through fear of being vulnerable,
Okay?
because if you cannot make or allow yourself to be vulnerable, you won't allow the other person to actually get to know you. And if that person does not get to know you, then they will not know everything that comes with you.
Okay?
Like Minister Jade says, coming with baggage. So if you have baggage or a lot of trauma, then that is something that person should know, so that they can know if it's manageable.
just self-check out.
Right, but also do not attach yourself to someone just for them to heal you if you do have trauma and
Ooh,
come
hello.
with baggage.
Yes.
Hello.
Um, because that's putting too much
Wow.
pressure on the next person.
Yes. Yes.
So,
So it's important to clear the baggage.
yes.
Offload.
Your book.
Offload the baggage. All right, guys, we are already gradually getting out of time. I thought we could discuss this, but I don't want to make it a discussion. Does anybody have any question?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I would like to know, kingdom dating wise, can you describe dating from to courtship? Like, are you just dating one person?
What's the process?
All right, or
That's-
in kingdom dating, can I date multiple saints and then I find one?
When they come running in.
Okay,
Or
so
do we get to?
oh, I was going to say that it's the same thing, because the reason why most millennials do not understand understand dating and courtship is because they still think is what, and most people have treated relationship as though they're still dating. Now, dating and courtship, let's talk it from the kingdom way. Even in the world, it's still the same thing. The only
Yeah.
thing that the world have blended in. Now, dating comes first.
Yeah.
Now, when you're dating, you're not in a relationship yet. It's a season for
picture.
information gathering.
Yes.
You're not obligated to nothing.
Come on.
You are free, 100%.
Yes.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
That's why it's called dating. During that dating is a time to learn who the other person is, what he likes, information gatherings. And yes, during dating, you're not tied to one person because you're not in a relationship yet.
Come on.
Right.
You're still gathering information. Now that doesn't mean that you should go and date the whole world.
No, not at all.
I'm just making it clear. Yeah, because it's not binding yet. It's not a relationship. So, but most people during dating, they're not gathering information.
No, they're not. They're not. They're lusting.
They're just going out on dinner.
Yeah, they're lusting.
They're not. So, in dating, it should be designated for information collections,
Come on.
information gathering. So those who want to date different people, they're not gathering any information. They're just testing. It's not the same thing. They're testing how does the other person kiss, how does he do that. So by the time they move into relationship, they have no information on the person they're moving into relationship. And when they get into relationship, that's when they start finding things that they don't want.
Yeah.
But if they would have gathered enough information during dating, they wouldn't have to be shocked when they get into a relationship.
So like speed dating.
Dating comes first.
Hey, you already got a few.
Are you listening to this? So in dating, and it should not be speed dating. No, take your time to gather information. That's when you learn whether the person loves God or not.
Amen.
Right.
That's
They don't like to interview.
Whether the person love prayer, whether the person even go to church, or does he go to church Christmas and Easter?
Yeah.
And Mother's
You're
Day.
right. That's correct.
Because that's just it. No, Christmas and Easter and Mother's Day and Thanksgiving weekend. No, during dating, the information surprisingly are free. But when people are distracted, they're not collecting it.
Come on, Apostle.
They're having social meetings. They're not talking.
Come on, Apostle.
They're not learning nothing about each other. They're not learning about opinions. Do you know that during dating, you learn their family values?
Yes.
Do they put value of families? Do they love children? That's what you gather during dating. But because of the social activities, the millennial call that dating yes and no. You're losing time. You're not collecting any information. You're not gathering. If I ask you, does this man or this man love prayer? Or can you say yes or no? You've not even got that far.
Come on.
You know,
Yeah,
which
what
church
the
does he go to? Does he love God? Does he even have a copy of the Bible at home? You know, you've been dating him for 3 months. What do you know? Does he like to pray before you go to bed?
Come on, bring him to CPI.
You know, there you go. But you see, so in dating, it isn't about social. Or the socials are there. The phones are there. It is mostly about prioritizing information.
Amen.
learning about the other person. You know, you can learn about their hobby, their interest, about their values, family values. You can even learn whether they have a marriage value. Because most people, they have switched into a relationship. That's when they find out that the other person really is not into marriage.
That's right.
You're finding that out when you're already getting into a relationship. No, you gather that information during dating. And listen, you don't have to feel you're rushing information. You're already having some social fun and everything. Might as well talk.
Yeah.
You're going to go out on a movie, go out on concert, go out on a dinner. You might as well talk. Don't go out there and start talking about Republican and Democrat. You know, leave politics alone. You can even learn political opinion during dating. You know, dating is a privilege.
Come on.
To learn the other person.
Come on, Apostle. That's
You
good.
don't go into a relationship until you have gathered enough that now say, you know what? He is a man or a woman with family value. He loves God and he loves to pray. In other words, if I need prayer, I know he can protect it. I know she will go out and pray.
Come on.
You get this information. And that, let me say it again. During dating, you're not bound.
Right.
Because you're still collecting information. But don't speed dating. Most people, they have speed. Some people have engaged
Come on.
during dating and broken the engagement when they get into a relationship. They propose while they're dating,
Yeah.
and when it become a relationship, the proposal or engagement was broken. Why?
They didn't come see you, Apostle.
Why? They speed date everything. They didn't gather no information. You know, some recent case that I have was two people that are engaged and are trying to break it, and I says like, he's Baptist. And I like to speak in tongue, and I cannot pray without speaking in tongue. And they were finding out after they were already engaged.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's very sad. I asked, how long do y'all date? Oh, we did it. We did it for 7 months. And I'm thinking, you mean a whole 7 months that never even come up?
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? A man, and I share this in marriage counseling a lot. A man proposed to his wife to be, and they were seeking premarital counseling. They came to me. Okay, newly engaged. They want to get married in 6 months. And I was just doing an interview, like I do what I call review, to see where they are, where they've been before I can take them on as a counselor. And I did that with you guys too.
Yes, sir.
So now, so how many children are you guys going to have? Because they don't have no children. The man said 4 or 5. And then the woman said, absolutely not. Then the man said, well, my dad have 5, my uncle have 4, my auntie have 4, and my other uncle have 5, so I think 4 to 5 is a good number. The woman said, no, I am not having more than 2 children. And they were in my office and they started arguing. They argued I remember this so well as though it happened yesterday. They argued for 27 minutes.
Did you rebuke the argument?
Oh, no, I let them because they letting me know. So when something like that happened, I let them have it. And after 27 minutes, I'm sorry, Dr. Sean, for doing this in your presence. I didn't think that having 4 children or 5 children would be a good problem. The woman also said, I'm sorry, Dr. Sean, I didn't think that I was getting married to start popping children. And I'm saying, okay, now hold on. We're not going to part 2. I gave them an assignment, go home, because that is one thing I can help you decide. Go home and discuss it. And then call me 3 weeks later, and then we can continue. Do you know how long they've known each other? 3 years.
Wow.
They have dated and get into relationship, and all this time,
Wow.
they never
It was
discussed
never
it.
discussed.
Wow.
Yeah.
They never discuss it.
We have to talk.
See, dating, you're not bound. It's not binding. You are learning each other. When you have learned enough, that's when you move into relationship. When you get into a relationship, nothing should surprise you. Why? You have the information.
No.
Spiritual value, family value, children value, relative value, just different stuff. But most millennials, during dating, is social. Everything fun is all that is going on.
Yeah, no serious talks.
They're having so much fun. What's wrong with having fun? Nothing. Fun is good, but get information. If you're going to sit to have dinner, there's not 30 minutes dinner in a restaurant the last time I checked. Might as well talk.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Might as well use the opportunity to talk about yourselves.
Yeah.
You know, some people don't even know about the other person's family, and they get in the lesson, they start learning things about the other person's family, and they're not happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your family. You know, some people don't even know that they don't know who their dad is, or they don't, or their mom is, but they're finding out. You know, oh, I can't wait to meet your dad. Oh no, I don't talk to my dad. See, they just found out.
Right.
You know, but it's healthy to gather those information during courtship,
Yeah.
because in relationship, that's when you now telling your family that I am in a relationship with someone, and they'll be excited to meet the person you are in a relationship with. Don't bring your parents in during dating, because it is not wise to introduce them to your parents
Yeah.
when you're not even sure whether that is going to become a relationship.
Yeah. That
If you
toxic
have
stage.
children, if you're a single mother or single father, don't bring them to your children during dating. And even relationship, when it comes to children, you have to wait until you can guarantee it. Why? Because children are very simple in their thought.
That's
If they
correct.
like that
That's
man,
correct.
you better be sure that that's him.
Facts.
Because, you know, one day, if say it's no longer working, you're going to be hurt, and so is your children.
That's facts.
Don't bring the children
That's
in,
deep too.
even the relationship, until he has gone far, where you can guarantee it. But definitely don't bring parents in during dating. So during dating, yeah, I'm saying it even as a pastor, yeah, you're not bound. Because you're not bound. You're not bound at all. Collect information.
Thank you, Apostle.
Learn
Keeping it real.
about values. Learn about ambition. Some people are finding that the person in the relationship, they don't have ambitions. And I'm thinking, well, how did you even get here? You should have already known that. What's your plan for the future? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? It's a very simple question. They can tell you, and then they can also tell you what they're currently working on. Evidence. Don't go blindly. Don't say, man, tall, dark, and handsome. It doesn't work like that. Because tall, dark, and handsome might end up being abusive,
What about light skin?
light skin. But anyway, I think this has been a good discussion. 2 weeks from today,
Amen.
we will be talking about identity. Identity. We mentioned a little bit in the punchline, Minister Shawanda Kimball. Thank you for making our time to, defend the millennials, and then Prophet Perry Henderson.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for making our time to be here today to also represent the millennials, and Minister J. James.
Let's
Thank
go.
you for making our time to be here today, and then Minister Bishop Denton.
All
Thank
right
you
now.
also for making our time for coming here today. All right, we are about. All right, everybody, we just finished an hour and almost an hour and a half interview about the Kingdom Millennials Network. Every 2 weeks, the second and the fourth second and the fourth Thursday of the month. Meet us 2 weeks from today. You will be featured if you come next 2 weeks. We're going to feature different people, switch it out. But we want you to be here next 2 weeks. This is Kingdom Millennials Night on the Kingdom Millennials Network. I am Dr. Sean, the CEO of Impact Network, of this television network. Thank you for watching tonight. And please, I know we didn't have time to give you option to ask questions because the discussions were so intense. But write down your questions, because in 2 weeks, we'll begin answering your questions first. God bless you for watching today. Once again, my name is Dr. Sean. And sitting on my left is Minister Shawanda Kimball and also Prophet Perry Henderson. These 2 millennials are married. He's been married for 7 years, and he's been married for less than 6 months.
That's
Newlyweds.
correct.
Hallelujah. And on my right is Minister Jade, single, and Minister Bishon, single. Now, that doesn't mean you should go start Googling them. No. So remember, we talk about dating first. Dating first. But God bless you guys for watching tonight. I will see you again in 2 weeks from today. God bless you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right.